Hello from gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and you're very welcome to the second instalment of my 12 days of plant Christmas. So it's a mixed bag as usual, lots of clips of what I do every day with my house plants, with my greenhouse plants, with my orchids and also in my garden. So come with me and let's have a look at this video log and get in the mood for Christmas. And yay! What would the 12 days of Christmas be without a present? And of course I've cheated because I bought this present for myself. Bought it on Etsy, and I guess you're going to get a little bit of a spoiler as to what's in this parcel by the fact that I've lined up these other two special aloes that you just recently saw me purchase beside, because I never knew I was going to find such gorgeous cultivars in a local garden centre. So of course I went online, as you do. And I don't know about you, but I always find that I do a lot of going online looking for stuff for myself at Christmas, because I guess that's just the way we are, you know. It's very hard to stay focused on things that other people like. You can't help thinking, oh, wouldn't they like a nice planter? And they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Okay, so with danger of paper flying away, I am proud to present the latest addition to my aloe collection, which is this one here, and she is Aloe Cleopatra. So I'm really mad about aloes at the moment, as you can tell, and haworthias. Aloes and haworthias, they're my current passion. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what, we can't complain about a plant that is wrapped well. I see. I see exciting things. I see flashes of red. I see prickly bits. Let's open it up. Ooh, nearly there. So exciting. Oh goodness, it's bare root. Okay, so here is Cleopatra. And as you can see, she is a real beauty. Now, I can't actually find out whether this is a common name for a species or whether it's a cultivar. I'm inclined to think a cultivar. But it's aptly named because apparently the famous Cleopatra used to use aloe vera, at least in her beauty regime. So this is really lovely. Here we have Cleopatra with her two friends, and you can see she's much smaller. A little bit of damage here, but never mind, it'll be fine. And I was a bit afraid, to tell the truth, that she was going to look quite similar to the other two after I got my hands on the other two and looked her up again. But that's just because it's very hard to tell from pictures online what something is going to look like. But I'm very pleased with how pink and how red she is. And she is going to live in the house now for the rest of the winter. And here we are. Very pleased with these. Going to pop this one up now, probably off camera, and just keep it inside. And yeah, collection coming along nicely now. But you know what, it's absolutely freezing out here, so I'm going to rush inside and I will, yeah, aloe collection. Ooh. And a bit of sunshine today, and you'd almost think, looking at this mostly evergreen area, that it was spring. Just with the sun hitting those evergreens, it's really, really lovely. So I've prepared this bed here for the hyacinths that will be coming very soon, I hope. It would be great to get them in the ground today. And you can see two little hedgehogs there. That's where I've marked the spot where the peonies are planted so I don't dig them up by mistake. I'm currently waiting for hyacinth and allium bulbs to arrive in the post because who can resist those last minute sales? But I just wish they'd hurry up and come. I don't want the ground to be frozen hard by frost when the bulbs eventually need to be dug in. And I'm really pleased with how this tree turned out, the pine tree on the left. It's just looks so much better now that I've removed the lower branches. It opens up the views and I think it's great. And today I'm going to repot a primulina or chirita, and this is one I bought several years ago from Dibley's and it has definitely outgrown its pot. So first of all we're going to take it out of its pot. Now, chirita or primulina is closely akin to African violet in terms of how it's grown and in terms of its family. And so we're going to use a pot that isn't too deep and just the next size up. So this is a plant that really doesn't like to be over potted, and I think, it's hard to show, but I think this one is going to do just fine. Right, so for our mix today, I have a well-drained mix here. There's some compost in there, potting mix, some horticultural sand, some perlite, but I think it's a bit too dry for the primulina, so I've added in some more potting mix. And this here is bone meal, just to give it a little bit of nutrition, and I'm going to mix this around. Now this plant I've had for several years. It has just been a regular, reliable grower and flowerer, and I'm just putting a little bit of a mix down here at the base, and now we are going to manoeuvre our plant in place. It has very fine roots, as you can see, and I have just broken off a leaf. Oh no. This is a great plant for its leaves, don't you think? But it does flower too. And it has very fine roots in the same way as streptocarpus have. So let's just put this in here, and then I am going to put some of the mix just around the plant. And this plant I bought really for its leaves, but I think over time what happens is it gets a very pronounced codex that comes up above the soil level. In fact, that's what I saw in Dibley's when I bought it, and really the reason why I went for it. And this is a plant I bought when I visited Dibley's in Wales a few years ago. And I'm just making sure I don't bury the plant more deeply than it was buried before, just firming the mix around and retrieving the label and just sticking the label in here. And now it's time for a bit of a watering. If we look closely at this plant, do you see that kind of stem here? This is where it's flowered before, and if we look right in here, there are flowers coming from the middle. And so just giving this plant a little bit of warm water, like streptocarpus, it appreciates the water warm and it appreciates a regular feed all year round. I give it the leftover orchid fertilizer. And some days have a slower start than others, but the greenhouse is always a priority. everything just slows down really when temperatures are low. Cyclamen are looking great, and do you see on the right there the aloe? It is sending up a bud. There we go, right in the middle. And this is something I should have mentioned, I guess, in the aloe video if it had been in bud at the time. But plants, they set out to trick us, don't they? They never do what they're supposed to. They're never in bloom when you're making a video about them. And some people were asking about this because it really is pretty. It's Albuca spiralis, and it has all these strings of really long hair that do a great job of just making it a very interesting plant, especially in drab winter months. And over there the nerine spike is fading, but I left it because what I want to do is collect seed. Now I wonder, is it actually setting seed in here? It's hard to know. I think it's had long enough, so I'm going to take this off and examine it indoors a bit more carefully. You see, it's kind of swelling there, which is where the seed should be. And it's important to make sure you know where the seed is coming from. At face value, these here look like seeds, but they're just kind of the withered anthers. The seed is going to be down at the base. So if we have a look here on this one, we can see it a bit more clearly. So those are the flowers up above, and then we have this swollen stuff down here. So we are going to open that up and see what we can find. And they're very white and gelatinous. And this is my harvest. But unfortunately these seeds are no good. They're kind of embryonic and haven't developed properly. So no good for sowing. Whether the weather was too cool or I collected them too early, I don't know. But oh well. Today is orchid watering day. In fact, the orchids have 2 days in a week where I tend to them, only watering each one once, but I have such a large collection that I have to split it over 2 days. And as you can see, the orchid fertilizer I'm using at the moment is Orchid Focus, according to manufacturer's instructions, except I use quarter strength so that at each watering I give my plants quarter strength fertilizer. And I use tap water, warmed tap water, because my water is quite soft. In addition to all that, I add Epsom salts, and 2 teaspoons for 32 litres is the measurement that I've used since goodness knows when, for a very long time. Of course, once all this has been done, the mixture needs a good stir, and I always feel a bit like a witch stirring a magic potion in a cauldron when I stir up my batch of fertilizer for the orchids. And to water, I take the mixture in a jug and just pour it through the orchid so that it comes out the base. Lots of water, enough to make sure every bit of the mixture is drenched through. This dendrobium is giving me some exciting news at the moment, and as you can see I have some buds coming, so I'll have flowers before very long, so I'm very excited about that. On this table I have 2 Cattleyas in beautiful flower at the moment, and the one with the yellow stripes is the one that you saw in the last 12 days of Plant Christmas video that I brought to you. But there has been an interesting development since the last video, and it's to do with the colours on the flowers. Now, this was always supposed to have yellow stripes on a white background, and in the last video the background was more kind of pale yellow than white, but the white has developed in just the last few days, which is very interesting. You can see what a beauty it is, and very pleasantly fragrant as well. And with that we come to the end of this video, which I really hope you enjoyed as much as I loved making it. I hope you're enjoying your run up to Christmas, albeit in very strange times. Thank you as always for watching, and if you wish to support the channel, don't forget about my merchandise, my books and memberships as well. In the meantime, well, I guess have a great time, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!